The planet of Valora shone like a jewel in space. Its cities were built with tall crystal towers and wide platforms that floated above the ground. Energy flowed through every structure, clean and precise. The Valorians believed their world was perfect. They believed their society was strong because it was loud. On Valora, strength was shown through words. Leaders spoke for hours. Warriors announced their victories. Engineers argued loudly over designs. Silence was seen as a flaw. If someone spoke little, others assumed they had little worth. Lady Saris Tal stood on a high balcony overlooking the capital city. Below her, thousands gathered in ceremonial colors. Banners drifted in the air. Music echoed across the towers. Today was not a celebration of love. It was a political necessity. Saris was a noblewoman of high rank. Her family controlled trade routes and energy hubs. To protect Valora's future, she had agreed to a binding union with an off-world species, humans. Humans were new to this region of space. They were not the strongest physically. They did not possess natural energy control like the Valorians, but they survived worlds that others could not. That alone made them valuable allies. Still, Saris had expected someone impressive. A human diplomat. A commander. Someone confident. Instead, she received Elias Ward. He stood beside her now, dressed in formal alien robes adjusted to fit his human frame. He was taller than most Valorians, but did not stand proudly. His posture was calm, relaxed, almost distant. His face showed no fear, no excitement. His dark eyes simply observed. He had spoken only once since arriving. Yes, when asked if he accepted the union. That was all. The crowd murmured. Whispers spread like static. Is he damaged? Does he not understand our language? Why would humans send someone so empty? Saris kept her expression neutral, as she was trained to do. Inside, confusion stirred. This human showed no ambition, no attempt to impress, no effort to hide his silence. The ceremony proceeded with long speeches from Valorian elders. Promises of unity, declarations of shared futures. Elias remained quiet the entire time. When it ended, polite applause filled the air. Saris and Elias were escorted to the noble residence, a massive structure layered with living crystal and energy veins. Inside the private halls, silence returned. Servants bowed to Saris and barely glanced at Elias. Your chambers are prepared, one attendant said, ignoring him entirely. Elias nodded once and followed without comment. That night, Saris sat across from him at a long dining table. Plates of carefully prepared food rested untouched. You may speak freely here, she said, finally breaking the silence. This is not court. Elias looked at her. Understood. That was all. Saris studied him. Humans were said to be expressive, emotional. Yet this one seemed controlled, almost withdrawn. Why were you chosen? She asked. He paused. I was available. ADA. That answer annoyed her, though she did not show it. Over the following days, they began their shared routine. Saris attended councils and meetings. Elias walked beside her, but never spoke unless addressed directly. When others spoke over him, he did not react. When ignored, he did not protest. The court decided he was insignificant. Rumors spread quickly. He brings nothing. She married a shadow. This alliance is symbolic only. Saris heard everything. She felt embarrassment at first. Then, curiosity. She began to notice small things. Elias always walked the same routes only once. After that, he never hesitated, even in complex palace corridors. When a lift malfunctioned, he examined the panel briefly and adjusted a connection. It worked instantly. One evening, Saris noticed him standing near a wall, eyes narrowed. What are you doing? She asked. Listening, he replied. To what? Power flow, he said simply. She frowned. Valorian engineers used advanced tools to read energy currents. Elias had nothing but his senses. Later that night, a minor fluctuation hit the residential sector. Lights flickered. Systems stabilized moments later. Officials blamed routine adjustments. Saris remembered Elias standing by the wall. Her curiosity grew. She tried to speak with him more, but he never pushed conversation. He answered honestly. Briefly. He never asked questions of his own. "You do not seem bothered by how others treat you," she said one day. He shrugged slightly. "I am used to it." That answer stayed with her. Weeks passed. The alliance remained calm. Trade flowed. Diplomacy held. Then, without warning, the city trembled. Sirens echoed through the towers. Energy streams flared red. The sky dimmed as floating platforms wavered. Saris was in council when the alarms began. Leaders shouted over each other. Sector failures. Containment loss. Who authorized this? Data screens flooded with warnings. Power grids destabilized. Environmental controls fluctuated. This could spread. Someone yelled. If the core collapses. The thought went unfinished. Sarah stood. "Where is my husband?" No one answered. Her heart tightened. She left the chamber and moved quickly through the halls. Guards ran past her toward command centers. Servants panicked. She found Elias near a restricted corridor, already moving. "Elias!" she called. He turned. "The system is failing in layers," he said calmly. "Arguing will not fix it." "This area is sealed," she said. "Only certified engineers." "I know," he replied. "That is why I am going." Before she could stop him, he placed his hand on the sealed panel. He studied it for a second, then adjusted a manual override hidden beneath decorative plating. The door opened. Sarah stared. "How did you—" "No time," he said, stepping inside. Alarms grew louder. She followed him. Inside, the system core chamber pulsed with unstable energy. Consoles flashed warnings in Valorian code. Elias moved directly to a control node. Scanning without touching. "You cannot interface without authorization," Sarah said. "I am not interfacing," he replied. "I am understanding." He began making small adjustments. Rerouting energy. Stabilizing flow paths. Correcting feedback loops. He did not rush. He did not panic. Slowly, one warning faded, then another. Across the city, lights stabilized. Saris watched in disbelief. "You've trained for this?" she asked. "On worlds where mistakes meant extinction," he answered. Security teams arrived moments later, weapons raised. Engineers followed, confused. "What is he doing here?" one demanded. Before anyone could stop Elias, the final alert vanished. The system locked into stable mode. Silence filled the chamber. Data screens showed recovery percentages climbing rapidly. An engineer checked the readings and froze. He prevented a cascade failure, she whispered. "This should not be possible." Elias stepped back, hands lowered. "The design is elegant," he said. "It only needed balance." The officials stared at him. For the first time since arriving on Valora, the silent human was seen. Saris felt something shift inside her. This was not weakness. This was restraint. As officials rushed to report the recovery, long-range sensors activated automatically. A new alert appeared. Unknown vessels detected at system edge. Saris looked at Elias. He was already watching the data. "They noticed the instability," he said quietly. The city had been saved, but something far greater was coming, and the silent human was no longer invisible. Officials began shouting orders. Engineers rushed between consoles. Guards lowered their weapons slowly, unsure what to do with the quiet human standing near the control node. Lady Saris remained still. Her eyes stayed on Elias. Moments ago, he had been ignored. Now, no one could stop staring at him. "This must be verified," one council engineer said sharply. "No outsider can stabilize a Valorian core without assistance." Elias stepped back to give space. "Verify," he said calmly. The engineers ran full diagnostics. Data streamed across the screens. One by one, their expressions changed from doubt to shock. "The energy flow is optimized," another whispered. "Not overridden. Balanced." "That is impossible," a senior technician said. "Our systems are tuned to Valorian biopatterns." "Well, Elias finally looked at them. Patterns are universal, he said. Only interpretations differ. The room fell quiet again. Saris felt a strange mix of pride and unease. The attention Elias now received was intense. Valorian leaders did not like surprises, especially from those they had dismissed. Word spread quickly through the capital. The power failure had been stopped by the human consort. Whispers filled the halls. He saved the city. He touched the core. He should not be capable of this. Some spoke with awe, others with suspicion. That same day, the High Council summoned Saris and Elias. The council chamber was vast, shaped like a circle so no voice could dominate, at least in theory. Today, voices were sharp and restless. Elias stood beside Saris, hands clasped behind his back. He did not speak unless addressed. Human, one elder began. You acted without authorization. Yes, Elias replied. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Do you understand the severity of that action? Another asked. Yes. Saris stepped forward. If he had not acted, the city might have collapsed. That is not proven. An elder snapped. Elias lifted his gaze. It is, he said. The failure curve was accelerating. Screens activated, displaying projected outcomes. Total collapse timelines. Casualty estimates. The room went silent. A different elder leaned forward. Where did you learn such analysis? Human frontier systems, Elias said. Places where there is no second chance. The council exchanged glances. Why remain silent all this time? One asked. Why hide such skill? Elias considered the question. No one asked, he said. The answer unsettled them. After a long pause, the council dismissed them, stating they would review the matter. As they left, Saris felt the air change. Elias was no longer ignored. He was being measured. That night, security around the noble residence increased. Drones hovered. Guards rotated more often. Saris found Elias in the observation hall, looking out at the city lights. They will not forget this, she said quietly. He nodded. They should not. Are you worried? No, he replied. Attention is manageable. Threats are not. Saris frowned. Threats? Before he could answer, an alert chimed softly through the residence systems. Not an alarm. A priority signal. Saris activated the display. Long-range sensors showed multiple vessels at the edge of the system. Unknown design. Minimal transponder data. Military analysts gathered quickly. The High Council reconvened within the hour. The ships did not approach directly. They held position, watching. A scouting force, a general said. Likely testing our readiness. Or, responding to the earlier instability, another added. Saris looked at Elias. You said they noticed. Yes, he replied. Instability attracts those who seek weakness. The council debated loudly. Some demanded immediate defense mobilization. Others argued restraint to avoid escalation. Elias listened silently. Finally, Saris spoke. You are reacting emotionally. You need clarity. If you are in November 4 place, if you are reacting emotionally. An elder turned to Elias. Human, what do you see? Elias stepped forward. He did not raise his voice. They are not attacking, he said. They are mapping responses. If you overreact, you confirm vulnerability. The generals bristled. And if we do nothing? One asked. They will wait, Elias replied, and learn. Silence followed. Reluctantly, the council allowed Elias to advise under supervision. He requested access to sensor data, defense logs, and historical engagement patterns. He worked quietly, cross-referencing information faster than expected. Engineers watched him closely, some with growing respect, others with clear discomfort. He does not use our interfaces, one whispered. He barely touches anything. He thinks ahead of the system, another replied. After hours of analysis, Elias presented a simple plan. Maintain normal operations, he said. No visible changes. But quietly reinforce critical points. If they test us, they will meet stability, not panic. The council agreed, though uneasily. Days passed. The unknown fleet remained at the edge of the system. No communication. No movement. Tension filled the city. Saris noticed how people now treated Elias. Servants bowed fully. Guards acknowledged him. Engineers asked careful questions. He accepted it all without change. One evening, Saris asked him, "Does this bother you, being watched?" He thought for a moment. "It is familiar," he said. "On human worlds, survival means constant evaluation." She studied him. "You carry much quietly." "That is efficient," he replied. Then came the test. One of the unknown vessels sent a probe toward the system, slow, deliberate. Valorian defense systems tracked it immediately. Generals prepared intercept commands. Elias raised a hand. "Wait." The probe scanned energy flows, defense grids, traffic lanes. It searched for weaknesses. Elias made subtle adjustments. Nothing obvious. Just small corrections. The probe lingered, then retreated. The unknown fleet shifted formation, uncertain. "They are confused," an analyst said. "They expected inconsistency." Elias nodded. "They found discipline." Over the next days, more probes came. Each time, Elias adjusted the system quietly. Each time, the probes left without result. Finally, the fleet sent a communication request. The High Council panicked. "They want to negotiate from a position of force," one elder said. Elias studied the signal. "No," he said. "They want confirmation." "Of what?" "That this system is no longer easy." The council allowed him to draft a response. It was brief, calm, clear. No threats, no boasting, only certainty. The reply was sent. Hours passed. Then the unknown fleet changed course. They withdrew. Relief swept through the council chamber. Cheers erupted. Leaders congratulated each other. Elias said nothing. Saris watched him. "It is over," she said. "For now," he replied. "They will remember this system. And you," she added softly. He looked at her. "They will remember humans." That night, the city celebrated quietly. Not loudly, as was tradition, but with calm gratitude. Sarah stood beside Elias on the balcony once more. "You have changed how they see strength," she said. "They changed how they listen," he replied. She realized then that the alliance was no longer symbolic. It was real. But she also sensed that this attention, this respect would bring new challenges. Power always did. Far beyond Valora, data from the encounter spread through hidden networks. A note was added to many records. Human systems engineer present. Systems stable under pressure. Avoid direct conflict. The silent human had spoken without words, and the galaxy had heard. The withdrawal of the unknown fleet brought calm to Valora. But it did not bring peace. The High Council declared the situation resolved. Trade resumed. Ceremonial speeches filled the public halls. Yet beneath the surface, something had changed. The city no longer believed it was untouchable, and at the center of that change stood a quiet human. Elias Ward did not attend the celebrations. He remained in the noble residence, reviewing system reports and long-range sensor data. Stability, he knew, was never permanent. It had to be maintained. Lady Saris joined him in the observation chamber as the city lights shimmered below. "They want to honor you," she said. "Public recognition. Titles." Elias shook his head gently. "Visibility attracts the wrong kind of attention." She smiled faintly. "You sound like a Valorian strategist." "I learned from necessity," he replied. Despite his refusal, the council insisted on a formal session, not to praise but to decide the future. The chamber was full. Elders, generals, engineers, and observers from allied worlds gathered. Elias stood beside Saris, as he always did. "The recent encounter has changed our position," an elder began. "Other powers will test us," another added. "And they will ask how a single human stabilized our systems and deterred a hostile fleet." All eyes turned to Elias. He did not flinch. "You are asking the wrong question," he said calmly. "It was not one human. It was a system willing to adapt." Murmurs followed. "Our technology is advanced," a general said. "But it was incomplete." Elias nodded. "Advanced systems fail when they depend on perfection. Human systems are built around failure. R. The engineers listened closely. We assume things will break, Elias continued. So we design ways to respond without panic. A long silence followed. Finally, Sarah spoke. What do you propose? Elias took a breath. Integration. Shared design philosophy. Quiet resilience instead of visible dominance. The council debated for hours. Some resisted, others agreed. In the end, they approved a limited integration program, human engineers working alongside Vylorian specialists. It was unprecedented. News spread across the planet and beyond. Reactions were mixed. Some feared dependence on humans. Others welcomed balance. Elias accepted the role of advisor, not leader. He insisted on working in the background. Weeks turned into months. Valora changed. Systems became less rigid. Redundancies were added. Emergency responses became smoother. Failures decreased. Engineers learned to listen to data, to patterns, and sometimes, to silence. Saris watched it all with quiet amazement. One evening, she asked Elias, "Did you ever plan this?" "No," he said. "I only respond to what is needed." "And what do you need?" she asked. He looked at her, surprised. "Stability," she nodded. "You have given this world that." Beyond Vylora, other systems noticed. Trade partners requested consultations. Observers asked about the human approach to resilience. Some respected it, others feared it. Not all reactions were calm. A coalition of distant powers, those who valued dominance over balance, saw Valora's change as a threat. Quiet systems were hard to predict, hard to control. They began to plan. The warning came through human channels first. Elias received a secure message late one night. He read it once, then closed his eyes. Saris noticed the change immediately. "What is it?" "They are coming," he said, "not to test, to overwhelm." Within hours, sensors confirmed it. Multiple fleets converging. Not hidden, not cautious, open intent. The High Council panicked. "They mean to crush us before we can adapt further," a general said. "We must show force," another demanded. Elias stepped forward. "Force invites escalation," he said. "Endurance invites doubt." The council hesitated. "This is not a small threat," an elder warned. "This could be the end of Vylora." Number one. Elias met their gaze. Or, the beginning of something stronger. They gave him full authority. This time, Elias spoke more. Not loudly but clearly. He coordinated defenses, not to strike, but to absorb. Shields layered. Energy flows redirected. Civilian systems isolated for protection. Human advisors worked alongside Valorian engineers seamlessly. When the first wave arrived, the system did not shake. Enemy weapons struck shields that bent, not broke. Energy dispersed instead of collapsing. The attackers expected panic. They found patience. Hours passed. Then days. The coalition fleet grew confused. Their attacks achieved nothing. Each strike was met with calm adjustment. Finally, a message came. They demanded surrender. Elias responded personally. "We are stable," he said simply. "And we will remain so." And no threats, no demands. The coalition withdrew, not because they were defeated but because they could not win quickly. The message spread across the galaxy. Valora was no longer loud. It was unmovable. Afterward, the High Council offered Elias the highest honor. He accepted only one thing, a permanent, human Valorian integration charter. The rest, he declined. Life settled into a new rhythm. Saris and Elias walked the palace corridors together, no longer watched with doubt. "Do you regret marrying into this world?" she asked one day. "No," he said. "It gave me purpose beyond survival." "And me?" she asked softly. He stopped walking, looked at her. "You listened," he said. "That is rare." She smiled. Years later, records would show this moment as a turning point. Not when Valora gained stronger weapons, but when it learned the power of quiet strength. Children would learn the story of the silent human not as a hero of war, but as a builder of endurance. And across the stars, a new understanding took root. Humans did not conquer by noise. They endured. They adapted. They waited. And when needed, they changed everything.